guys, welcome back to Backyard Blooms. It is the end of February and I am going to do a February garden tour. I'm very excited. Actually, I have lots of blooms to share with you even though it's in February. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, Zone 8, and along the way I'm going to share some tips and tricks with you that you can do here in February and what I am planning on doing the very first part of March. So come along with me and enjoy all these gorgeous blooms. So today we're going to start in the very backyard and I'm going to give you a panoramic view of what my backyard looks like. Most people believe that I live on a larger acre, but I do not. My lot is about 0.24 of an acre. I have that wheelbarrow out there for a reason because it is time to prune our butterfly bushes. And that's my rose garden. And then panning around, this is what I call my cottage garden, and I'm really starting to get some nice shade in this area. So this garden right here is starting to change just a little bit. And then of course we have our pavers right there and a nice sitting area that's covered. As you can see, our grass is dormant and we do have Bermuda grass. This is the time right now, if you have not put down pre-emergent, to go ahead and apply pre-emergent. I don't really have a lot of weeds, but I am battling poa grass. And when I see some, I'll share that poa grass with you. This right here is a good example of what the poa grass looks like. It is actually a grass, not a weed, but we do not want this to come up in our Bermuda grass. It is a cool grass. It does not like the heat, so it will die off when it gets hot here in Charlotte, North Carolina. But this is not something that is wanted in my Bermuda grass. So we're constantly having to either pull it up or put something down to help get rid of it. But boy, is it a challenge for me. So this is my limelight hydrangea garden. I have a hedge of limelights. They are panicles. They do love the sun. So if you're trying to find something that you like hydrangeas and you want them to be able to do good in the full sun, the limelight hydrangeas and any panicle hydrangea will do the trick for you. I do have these on drip because it does get really hot here in the summertime, so they do appreciate the extra water that I give them. In the background is my emerald green arborvitaes, and they're doing really, really well. In a video that I just watched, Janie had just met a new friend at the flyer show, and she talked about head, knees, and shoulders. And I thought it was a cute concept. So basically these emerald green arborvitaes are the head, and the limelight hydrangeas are the knees, and then anything at my toes are going to be at ground level. So any garden needs head, knees, and toes. So that's something that I need to still try to figure out. I have the lemon coral sedum here at the bottom, and I have a couple of hardy hydrangeas, and I really like to put this summer the Bordeaux super petunia. So that is going to be at my feet. Now this area really is root bound for me, so I'm going to have to break up some roots before that I could put some of those petunias in. But as you see, as I come down here, I did dig out an area and replanted these sedum over here because they were not very happy in the side garden. That area was getting just a tad too wet. So as you can see, they're a little bit more happy over here. So I'm hoping that they will not get any powdery mildew like they did on the other side. But yeah, when I dug that hole up, I had to dig up some roots. And I used my root slayer. That thing is the bomb. Everybody needs a root slayer, and I'll have that in the link. And then I have some tulips coming up right here, so pretty exciting. I feel like every garden needs some type of hardscape, and this is Miss Grace from Unique Stone. I think she's very peaceful and beautiful. And then here I have a little gem magnolia, and they're gonna have some gorgeous white blooms in the summertime. And these limelight hydrangeas are still dormant. None of the buds are poking out yet. So these are where the buds would start to swell whenever they start to come out of dormancy. Now these emerald green arborvitaes, you can't really see a lot of the needles inside until like I poke my head in the middle of them. Let me come down here. There's one that you could see some of the needles right there. And I like to get these needles out from the middle because I don't really like to look at them. That's all I do is just kind of shake these off and out, and they come right off. And once I get them to the very bottom, you can see some right here. Once I get these to the very bottom of the base, a lot of people like to leave them because it's extra mulch for them, but I personally just do not like the look. So I'll go in and get all of these dead needles out, and then I'll dispose of them. And then in the early March, I will put down all of my plant tone on these emerald green arborvitaes, and I will use rose tone on my hydrangeas because they bloom a lot. So either rose tone, holly tone, and if that's all you could find is plant tone, then you could use plant tone as well. They will appreciate anything that you give them. So early March, I will go ahead and fertilize everything, and then I'm gonna come back and cover this with mulch. So that is my go-to list that I'm gonna do early March. Now I have already pruned these hydrangeas, but if you have not, you can go ahead and start pruning on them, or you can wait till the buds start to swell up. Whichever you prefer, there is not a wrong or right way to do this. And if you want to thin it out, this is a good time to go ahead and thin it out. Like if you don't like these branches at the very bottom, you can go ahead and take that whole branch out if you'd like and thin it out a little bit. And I've already gotten all the little spindly pieces, something similar to this. I've already removed all of those, but I may have missed a few. And then coming on down, I have some Chasta daisies. These pretty much have stayed green all winter long. They really not, you can tell some of this is the old foliage from last year. And then these little sticks, they just come right up after a while. So I can like go ahead and pull all of these out if I'd like, if you don't like that look. But I got a good 2 little clumps there now where I only had 1. So they do kind of stay in position, but they will do like a good mound. And my Chasta daisies, I wish they would rebloom, but they do not. And then I have some peonies right here. So I'm really excited about that. It has taken a really long time for these peonies to develop their roots. And I've heard that it could take 2 to 3 years. But that is what a new growth on the peonies look like. So I think next time I will probably buy like a good mound of them. That way I'm going ahead and really paying for the roots system that they've already developed. But I think it takes a good while. And this was an old, let's see, I don't see any growth on here. This was an old petunia. Yeah, I'm not really, I could probably just go ahead and pull all this up. I see a little bit of green, but not much. And then I have a limelight standard tree right here on the corner, and then another butterfly bush here. So you can see that I'm seeing signs of spring right here. I have some sedum that has come up, and this is the Rock and Joy sedum. Rock and Round something Joy sedum. I can't read my writing on that tag. But signs of spring are definitely coming. And then I'm already starting to get some new growth on these buddleia bushes, but I need to come back and start pruning these. What you would want to do is come back to where you can see like a set of 2 leaves. So I see 1 leaf here and another set here. So I would come back and prune right here. And it is the time, it's okay, as long as you're not covered in snow, that you can go ahead and do that. So this one has been in the ground for me probably 5 going on to 6 years, and I cannot believe that I've been gardening in here for that long already. So you can see where I still didn't get any of the old blooms off from last year. So I need to go back and really prune this. If you do not prune this, then you're gonna have all your flowers on top and none on the bottom, and you want it to be covered with buds. This one I got at Home Depot. It was nothing special, and it's been one of my favorites. My Nellie Stephen topiaries are looking really good. I've got 4 of these in the garden, 2 on each side on the back row. And I do need to come back and put some mulch down. But the green and red berries are really pretty, and I do stay on top of these and keep them pruned as a ball, because the Nellie Stevens usually look like a Christmas tree. They normally don't look like this, but I love the shape. So go ahead and take a risk, because I am so glad that I did this. And I'm like, if I just don't like it, it can just grow back out. But so far, so good. And this is part of the rose garden. This is where I have a more formal look to the garden. I have a crepe myrtle, and as you can see, it is time to go ahead and prune your crepe myrtles too. So I pruned the front 2 crepe myrtles already, and what we're basically going to do is get rid of all of these little spindly branches right here. We don't want any of these. And then we're going to keep these big branches right here. And I like to go ahead and prune. Do you see how there's a Y right here? I like to prune about 2 or 3 inches above this Y. And then you want to kind of shape it like this. So I do have a video on this, and I'll link it to the very end screen of this video. But this tree is getting so tall, like we're gonna have more of a hard time pruning this one this year. But look how pretty this tree is 4 years in. Nice, huh? We want to get all of those old pods off too that are right here. We're going to remove all of those. And since we do have so many branches, it does really well. We usually try to burn these in our fire pit. We let them sit out for a day or 2 until they dry, and then we'll burn them in that fire pit right there. So as you know, I do have 4 quadrants of the David Austin roses, and they're surrounded each quadrant by these sprinter boxwoods, and they're looking really good. And these are the David Austin roses, and I've already pruned all that back. And I do have videos showing how to prune a shrub rose, and I'll link that video down in the video as well. And then you can see my alliums popping up. Oh, I didn't even video. So you can see the alliums in this quadrant are a little bit more advanced. They're probably getting a little bit more sun, and I have a few more alliums coming up there. These alliums are large, they're very tall, and they are purple. They have a big bloom on them. I'm gonna say probably maybe a 6-inch bloom. And then I have some more in the corner over here that are just now starting to come up from the ground. These are from a bulb, and I bought these from Color Blends. And then you can see my roses right here are having some new growth on them as well. So another sign that spring is coming, and I have lots of signs in my garden that are popping up everywhere. It's exciting. This tree right here, I love this tree. It's a holly, and it's called an Oakland holly, and it just has great form. And I have 3 of these in the garden. And then I have my Galloway urn over there, and I need to put some new things in that Galloway urn. These are all my winter jugs, and I have a video out on that called Winter Jug Gardening. And I almost feel like I've done both. I've done some seeds inside, and I have a seed starting video, like I'm brand new, just learning how to do that. But I have done the winter jug or the milk jug gardening before, And so I just planted up, I think 16 of these the other day. And what that does, you can see the condensation in there, it just creates its own little greenhouse. And then the seeds will germinate, and then you can plant them out and get like a little early start. So there's some in here. Let me try to find one. So you can see the little seedlings in there. That one not so much. This one's bachelor buttons. And do you see those little seedlings in there? So I can just replant those after my frost date, and my frost date is April 5th. So you can pull the almanac up and then put in your zip code, and that will tell you when your last frost date is. Now in my raised garden bed, these are the tulips that I had in my very front. They're the gentle giants. And I did an experiment on these guys, and it is working. So what I did was last spring, after they've already bloomed, I pulled all the tulips up. And then I let them dry in the sun, and then I cut all the old foliage off, and then I put the bulbs in a dark space for all summer long, just in a paper bag. And then I put them in the refrigerator to cool for 10 weeks, and then I planted them out. And look, I'm already starting to get some blooms from them. So very, very exciting. Now these are a hybrid, so I think I'm only going to get maybe 2 to 3 years out of these bulbs, but very, very exciting that it actually worked, because my zone does not get a cool enough period for them to have enough energy in that bulb to reproduce a bloom. But this actually really worked. Let's just look up a little closer here. I don't feel like they're as tall, but I think as they start to grow, they'll get taller. But you can see I've got all types of buds that are about ready to come out. This is my other raised bed. This is my Savannah garden bed. And if you don't want to build your own bed, this is an awesome way to go. And I do love this trellis on there too, that it comes with. So I have some sweet peas that I'm going to plan on growing, and I'm going to have them come up the little trellis here. But these are my ranunculuses that I've been trying to grow, and I hope I get blooms this year. So we'll see if I can get any blooms out of these little guys. I love that bloom of the ranunculus. These are an Italian ranunculus, and they came from a corm. This right here is my cherry tree, and you can see that I got some buds already developing on the tree right there. I have 2 of these, and when I designed this garden, I wanted to make sure I had interest for every season. So my cherry trees are giving me interest for spring. And then of course I have all the greenery that I have around the garden that gives me winter interest. And then my crepe myrtles there are going to give me my summer interest. I love these windmills. Need to get you one if you haven't gotten one yet. And then I have some jonquils, which I still call daffodils, and they are blooming right now. I planted these last year, and they are all coming up right now. So some have blooms and some do not, but these were from Color Blends, and they're called the Scilly Blend. So these are more for the south. So if you're looking for something that's going to come back every year and you want some spring interest, this is going to be a great option for you. It's called the Scilly Blend. So I'm in the cottage garden right now. I'm on the other side of my backyard, and look, I do have some daylilies here, and you can see something's already came and ate the foliage. I'm pretty sure it was a deer. We had 5 deer back here last night. So I'm just still at a loss of how to. I do not want a fence, so that's something that I just really would not like to have. These are my Rose of Sharons, and I've pruned them back by 1/3. So if you've not pruned yours, you can prune them back. And I have no idea what that is. I think it's another Rose of Sharon. And this one was a volunteer. So I was gonna dig it up because I really didn't want that placement there, but I'm gonna just see if it blooms. I'm gonna see what it does this year. And then on this trellis, I got this trellis from Gardener Supply. If you have not looked at their magazine, they have a great selection. And then I have a climbing rose on this one, and then I do have a clematis down here that's gonna climb up this as well. And it is gorgeous, you guys. When my clematis is starting to bloom and my roses are blooming, like, I cannot find anything more beautiful than that combination. I just love it. So it took me many years to figure out how to prune a climbing rose. So what you really want to do is, whenever you see these side shoots, these side branches, they're called lateral branches, you don't want to cut them too short. You don't want to cut them all the way back here, because then you're going to be sacrificing a lot of blooms. You see that there's a lot of blooms coming in right there. You'll have some at the very tip top of your branch, but most of them are coming off these like side shoots right here. See? So look how pretty these combinations of these flowers are. There's like 6 or 7 different blends, and that, I believe, is like a paper white. I tried to bloom some paper whites inside last year, and oh my gosh, I did not like the smell. Comment below and let me know, like, have you done that, and does that smell get to you? So I'm just gonna stick with them outside. This brings me so much happiness and cheeriness. Like, I can sit on my porch and just look at all these beautiful daffodils, and I just love them. Look, I think something popped this one out of the ground. Maybe I could replant that. Maybe a squirrel. Oh, I got some tulips coming up right here too. I actually forgot that I planted those. I have some orange pansies in these hanging baskets, and they're trying to hang on. Like, I'll go ahead and take some of the dead blooms off as I see them, and they'll make them bounce back a little bit. You could probably hear my wind chime right now. Not near as windy as it was yesterday. My containers aren't doing anything real special. The ivy looks really pretty still, and that hung on all winter long and lived for me. And this Mesoamerica, I've had to prune it back a little bit, but it still looks good. And so does this ornamental kale, still looking really pretty. And then my pansies or violas that were in here, they're starting to like bounce back since it's starting to get a little bit warmer here in our zone. Here's some of the pulmonaria that I replanted and I divided. They're doing really good, and they're starting to bloom already. These are the hellebores. These are the Ice and Roses hellebores. You guys, like, I think I'm gonna buy nothing but Ice and Roses from now on, because their bloom stands more upright than it does downwards. So pretty. And this combination of these jonquils right here next to it just like catches my eye. It is beautiful. Here's the pulmonaria, and they have 2 colors coming out on them. They have the pink and the blue, and this one is called Pink a Blue. So if you're looking for a springtime bloomer that takes shade, look at this. Can you not get any prettier than this? And then I'm going to show you this hellebore closer up. I've got a few more that I'm going to plant that I bought at Creekside Nursery and at Pike's Nursery this past week. So this one's more of a deeper maroon color, and this one right here is a lighter pink. I have had to water these a good amount, especially this one for some reason. I had to water it more and it was drooping on me. That's how I knew that it needed to be watered. And then you can see the junipers there in the back, and then some more jonquils that are facing the other way. Look at the yellow and orange. Do you hear the birds? There's a chickadee up there. I have like 4 chickadees up here singing to me right now. This is the Jacob's ladder. I love this plant because it takes shade and it looks like a fern and it blooms. So I think it's gonna have purple blooms on it, and this one's called Jacob's ladder. And I'm really excited. So this is another one that you can plant that will give you early blooms too. But I really, really wanted to share you this. This is a double hellebore. And look, let me see if I can get it turned over. Look at the double bloom on that. Isn't that so pretty? But this one kind of does turn down a little bit instead of like upright, but still just the underleaf is really, really pretty too. Just makes you want to get on the ground and take a look. This is my lilac, and I'm starting to get some buds on that. So it's starting to leaf out a little bit. And then take a look at this candy corn spirea. Don't you just love that bright orange and red color of the leaves just starting to appear on this plant? Oh my goodness. The hyacinths are starting to appear out of the ground. This one is called glitter hyacinths. So you guys, in March, you cannot miss, maybe March or even early April, my garden tour, because it is going to be spectacular with all the spring bulbs that I have planted. I cannot tell you how many bulbs that I have. I'm going to estimate over 3,000. I may have more than that, because I think I planted 2,000 tulips all by itself. And that's bubblegum that never really went away from last year. And that's some more lungwort pulmonaria, which is called pinkaboo. There's different types of that too. There's one that has more of a salmon color. And then this is Gara. I love Gara. This one's a white Gara, and then the pink Gara is so pretty in the garden, you guys. It's very whimsical, and when I planted that, the plant tag said that it is almost like butterflies dancing in your garden. Do you want butterflies dancing in your garden? I know I do. It's a sunny day. It's probably in the 50s today. But this backyard gets really warm for me. That's my rose garden. And they're gonna bloom out. They'll have their first flush of blooms for me probably sometime in May. This is the standard gardenia that I'm gonna plant, and I am going to plant that one probably up maybe tomorrow afternoon in this pot right here. So I need to get all the dirt back out of that pot because I had a palm in there. And look at this lemon coral sedum, you guys. It does so good in a pot. Look how beautiful this is. So I'm gonna try to save some, like I can replant this. And this is really an annual, but for our zone, it comes back as a perennial. So we're pretty lucky that we can get some annuals that will come back as a perennial. And like I said, I need to replace this pot and get this palm out. I just cut it off instead of trying to dig it up. But this gave me some gorgeous interest all winter long. So these are the plants that I need to still plant sometime this week. I've got 3 new hellebores, and these are the, turn the tag around here. This one's called Frost Kiss Pennies Pink. And I also have some primrose. Did you guys know that you can buy a hardy primrose that is a perennial that keeps coming back every year? This is my first. I did not really realize that. But this has some really pretty blooms on it, and this is going to take some shade. So I'm going to put this in my cottage garden where I'm getting a good amount of shade now because my cryptomeria trees have gotten so tall. You see. Look how tall these cryptomerias have gotten. And they do give me some great privacy. So if you're looking for something for privacy and you need them to be tall, this Yoshio cryptomeria tree is a gorgeous one. I love how it gives you movement too when the wind blows. Like a feathery, like the birds love them. I have to share with you this pot. So this is a white clay pot that I got, and I really love it. And I love how it's starting to really patina and look just real unique. But look at all these pansies and violas in there. Like, I've got them other places too, but it must love this dappled sun area. Or it may just be a little bit more protected. But look at this carex grass. Like, isn't this unique and different? Do you guys, have you grown this before? Like, I love this. It almost looks like a cat's tail to me. Not like a real cat's tail, but you know what I mean. It's just so vibrant and so pretty, and they're just doing so good over here. It loves this spot. So this brings me a lot of happiness. My snow and summer jasmine's doing really well, still here in these containers. And they're gonna climb, hopefully up this, and be really pretty this year. I could probably find something to plant around it this year too. Something small. Or I can take them out and put them in the ground. They make good ground cover too. Love the variegation on it. One of my favorite flowers that I have in the garden right now is called this winter Daphne. And if you could smell through the camera, you would just want to sniff this all day long. Look how pretty these teeny tiny cluster of blooms are. They go from maroon to a light pink to a pale white. They are so, so pretty, and it is on here abundantly. I love the shape of this plant. So this is a must-have. Now, this plant does like more shade, so that's why I got it up against the house where it's more protected, and it gets some shade from this tree that I have next to it, which is the little gem magnolia is right next to that. And then I have it here on the corner. I just think this is so pretty. This is the first time I've seen it bloom, so it brings me so much happiness, as you can tell. It is so, so pretty. And it's variegated too. Do you see the variegation on the tips of the leaves? Which brings it another element of surprise. Got to get you one of these winter Daphne. Now I do have to add, this winter Daphne is for a warmer climate. So I'm thinking maybe zone 7, 8, and up. So you might not find this in a zone 5 or 6. So I'm on the side of the house. This is the west side of the house, and this is the new garden that I planted up last year. Right below me at my feet, I have all the hens and chicks. I put this in a living wreath, but I just did not have I did not have luck keeping it living in there, so I put them on the ground here so they can prunalize and be really happy. You can see I need to throw this away where I pruned. I have some lemon coral seed on, and this is a Munstead rose from David Austin, and I pruned it back. That was new last year, and I don't know if it loves this space over here because I had a really hard time with it last year. And I've got 2 more coming. 2 of them did not make it, and here's the other one, but I do have new growth on it. This one's gonna have dark leaves. Munstead wood is one of the more red that David Austin has. And I think this is a weed. Pretty sure it is. But this is where I have the new clematis that I put out last year. This is called Maria Curie. Forgive me, I do not remember. One of them is white and one of them is a hot pink. And here's the other one. And you can see new growth coming on that. And these were teeny tiny babies because I ordered them online. So that's what you're gonna get if you order stuff online. Just to let you know, if you want a bigger specimen with a bigger root system, then you are gonna have to go to the nursery. I have no idea what that is, but I will soon find out. And then I have some foxgloves growing, a peony that I moved. This is the coral peony that I moved, and you guys, I've never seen this bloom, so I don't know. It's leafed out, but it's never bloomed. So I retransplanted that because I think maybe it was too deep before. Now keep in mind, when I planted this garden up, I wanted to do this on this hill to prevent erosion. So that is my main goal. So I do have another limelight standard hydrangea. I have lots and lots of daffodils that are popping up. We planted those together. I have probably, I don't know how many tulips, 600 tulips on this side. And these are all gonna be pink and peach. I try to do something different every year. And I have lots and lots of buds that I can see. So it is going to be so pretty. And these over here must love this space because they've gotten tall. Either that or they're just a taller variety. And then I love this mix of pansies over here. Look at this. So I have like peach and pink and yellow. And then I have a white with lavender on it. And then I have a maroon color or hot pink with maroon or deep purple. And it just goes on and on with colors. These pansies over here have done absolutely great. And when it warms up, they're just going to continue to do better and better. And I need to come over here and probably give them some fertilizer, some water soluble fertilizer. I do have some butterfly bushes over here. These are the punkster and they're the blue. And I have not pruned them back, so it'll be my first time this year, so I need to get to that. So I've got 1, 2, 3, I've got 5 punkster blues in this garden right here. This is called Yin and Yang, and this year is the first time that I probably in the last, maybe this is the 3rd season that I've actually got some blooms off of it. So that gives you a lot of winter interest. It never lose its leaves. That means that it is not deciduous. And it's got some tiny, really pretty flowers on it. So I don't think they're really budded out yet. So we'll see what it looks like. So let's move on down. Nothing other exciting other than these tulips and pansies. I can see things starting to have some new growth. Azalea up there. That honeysuckle really loves that space on that climbing vine. I did not prune that back, and I'm glad that I didn't, because look at all the new growth on there. Let me get you up a little closer here. And this is a proven winners, and this one is a sterile one, meaning that it's just going to stay contained right here. But it found every little inch of this trellis to climb up on its own. Gorgeous. This is the other yin and yang. Now I have no idea which one is which. I just know that you have to have one of the other for it to pollinate. And this is a Viburnum. And they stay probably, I don't think it's going to get much bigger than this one actually. 3 to 4 feet tall. So very manageable in this side garden here. Very, very manageable. So this rose right here is a David Austin rose, and I finally got to prune it last night or yesterday. So I'll show you what it looked like before I started to prune, and then I have a few little clips that I can show you where, like, when I was actually pruning it. It's really, really hard for me to show you in a video like how to prune unless I have someone else there with me. But anyways, I was filming by myself yesterday. But I have it up on a trellis. I bought this trellis at Lowe's, and I just have 3 of these zip tied together to make it look like a bigger trellis. This one is not considered a climbing rose. It is considered a rambling rose. And just like the climbing rose, so the canes were pretty manageable to like bend. So what I did was took it from the base of the plant and came out this way and then tied each one of them off. As you can see where they're tied off at. Now when I'm pruning, and I'll show you little clips of that too, the same with the climbing rose, you don't want to prune all your laterals all the way back off, because that's where you're going to start getting some new buds, just like this one, how it's started to get, ouch, that got me. See how it's got new growth on there? And then this one has new growth. So that's where you're gonna get all your flowers at this year. And actually, I probably should have pruned it a little earlier. I got some new gardening gloves that I like to share with you, and I really did like them. So I'll show you a clip of that too, when I was pruning the roses yesterday. So I'm excited to share this one with you when she starts to bloom in the springtime. I have to share with you the hyacinths. They're starting to come out, but this one's already starting to bloom. So this one I believe is going to be pastel colors. And I got it around my limelight hydrangea tree. My serendipity alliums coming up. So I've already removed all the old foliage off that. Tulips. So I have lots of daffodils in this area, and that's where all those hyacinths are at that are around my limelight standard tree right there. And I already got it pruned back last year. The blooms on that are so big and they get quite heavy. So sometimes I prune maybe a little bit more back than I should. it is suggested that you only take off 1/3. So I'm in the very front of my garden, and then I have a different variety of pansies right here as well, and lots of different tulips. These tulips right here are going to be yellow, white, and cream color. And then I went with a denim blend of the pansies right here. Let me see if I can get the tag. Yeah, lavender blue shades, Delta Premium Lavender Blue. So the front of my house only gets shade more in the evening time, but as the summer goes on, I get more sun overhead directly over the house and get a little bit more sun up here. So just to let you know, it's still pretty shady right here, and it's around 12 o'clock right now. But I have some containers with some little squiggly, curly grass I think is fun and unique. See if I can come a little closer to show you. You see how squiggly it is? And this is the blend that I have in the front of the house, and this is the blend that I just shared with you on the side of the house, the west side. And I have about maybe 600 tulips in this area too, and then I planted some around the trees, and some of them are starting to bloom, and I'm going to share that with you in just a second. So this, I like to have a little bit more formal look to it, so you can see my sprinter boxwoods, and I have a hedge. You can see I have the hedge of the sprinter boxwoods. Those are from Proven Winners. And then I have some more boxwoods that are in a spiral, more like a topiary. And then in the center, I have a dwarf Japanese maple. And I did prune that up a good amount this past year and shaped it up because I have never really shaped my tree up. So this is a good time to go ahead and shape your trees up before they start to sprout new buds in the springtime. And then I have my Easter stuff out because it's going to be Easter. We're going to have an early Easter this year. And another thing that I'm really excited to share with you is how we pruned this climbing rose bush. So let me get a little closer. So what my husband helped me do, and I don't know all the exact terms, so I do have pictures of all the hardware that we used, but I wanted these really long canes to come up this post, however you want to say that, and then I've got a wire going all the way across. Can you see the wire? And then by ties, we just did the canes, tied them to the wire up there. So I'm going to be really excited. I think this is going to be beautiful when it blooms. And this one is called Lady of the Lake. And it's more of a single bloom. Real pale yellow, or I'm sorry, real pale pink with a yellow center. And this rose is no different as far as the lateral canes. More of the canes are higher up there. Can you see all the lateral canes? There's one right there. So that's where you're going to get your blooms at. So these are the crepe myrtles that I have in front. So Bonnie, my neighbor, asked me to come and help her prune hers and show her what to do. So basically I just, took off most of the canopy off the top, but not too much. You don't want to like murder it, is what they say. You don't want to crepe myrtle them. But these have only been in the ground for the first year here in the sidewalk part of our neighborhood. This is the same blend that I put in the very front of the house, but I have some already blooming. So the yellow ones must be coming out first. Look how pretty. I love how pointy it is. It's like a little bit of different bloom than you normally see for a tulip. So I think there's 3 different blends in here. Like I said, yellow, white, and cream. And then I have some little tiny tulips too that only come up, and they're going to be like a lilac and yellow. They have not bloomed yet. So let me show you the difference between my that I've already pruned and the ones that have not been pruned. So I'm at my neighbor's tree, and we all have new crepe myrtles, and you can see that their canopy, so you can see, like, I want to like kind of take off about this much of the canopy just to kind of eyeball. And I like to go to the Y where it splits off and then take 2 or 3 inches above that. So let's go up to the Y. Do you see this is splitting off right there? So right there is where I would want to take off 2 or 3 inches above that. So that kind of gives me my guideline. And every year where it splits off at the Y again, I go 2 or 3 inches above that. So that way you're not crepe murdering them. And then you want to make sure you get all of these pods off, like I said, and then all the real little spindly limbs, like this one right here, you want to get all those off because you don't want any of that energy to go to those real small branches. So you just take them off with your pruners. I use my Foco 2 pruners, but for like these limbs right here, you have to use loppers. So that is how I pruned my crepe myrtle. And then I'm in the driveway, and then I have some real pretty yellow, bright, cheerful pansies right here. They might be violas. I think they're violas. I'm pretty sure they're violas. Just all down this little skinny area right here. And then in this 3-tiered container right here, I had some ornamental kale, and then some pansies that are the deep purple, lavender, and yellow, and then the orange ones on the top there. And then my pillows are all wonky, but I have some Easter stuff out too. I have fun with this container. This one's from Kinsman, and I have a lot of fun with this container each year. Look, even the moss is pretty. Let's see, like a snail in there too. Yeah. I think it's just the shell. Empty shell. This is Cat's pajamas. This is my aquapot. So this is the Fatsia that I'm going to have to replant this year. This is a perennial. It'll be replanted. This ornamental kale that will be disposed of. And I don't know what else I have in here. I had some Kent Beauty oregano somewhere. The heuchera, can replant that. And this is the Kent Beauty. It's starting to come back up again. It's a perennial. It is so pretty. Everybody needs some Kent Beauty oregano as some ground cover or in their containers. These aquapots are really nice because they're self-watering. So if you struggle in the summertime keeping things alive and watering, like, you might really want to invest in a container like this. They're really attractive and beautiful too. And I just have it on a little swivel because it's quite heavy. But you only have to water this once a week in the hot summertime. Not bad, huh? And this is my skinny side, and I have more pansies. These are the pansies, not violas, but they're still very vibrant yellow. I'm starting to get shade over here. This is White by the Gate Camellia. This one's a little bit smaller than my other one, but it doesn't get it as much sun. And then I have it growing up on a trellis too. Look how big these blooms are. Aren't they so pretty? Look at this one. Gorgeous. And this Tulip blend was from Color Blends as well. And these are going to be, I believe they're going to be red, yellow, and purple, you guys. I believe. I'm going to really miss my orange tulips that I had last year. And the same on this side too. It's just kind of separated by where our faucet is right there. Now my dreams for this side garden this year is to put cut flowers in there this year. So I would like to put zinnias, cosmos, and maybe a few dahlias. Some celosia, we'll see. But I really want to try to put some bouquets together this year. This one's a little bit bigger than the other one. Still a camellia, white by the gate. And this is where it goes into my backyard. This container's still looking really pretty, other than this fern. That looks pretty sad. But the pansies in here are doing really pretty. Go deep maroon and yellow. And this hokey cypress. I believe that's how you say it. To me, it looks like it's Dr. Seuss, a little Dr. Seuss tree. I love filling this tree. Do you guys love filling stuff that's soft and gives you that different texture where you could just feel it, like just run your fingers over it? Tell me in comments what you like to run your fingers over. Like lamb's ear would be something else that would come to mind. I hope this February garden tour brought you some inspiration, because my garden is telling me that spring is coming, you guys. So just hang on, and your garden is going to tell you that spring is coming too. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe my videos. I just found out that the more likes that you have and the more comments that YouTube will send out to the logarithm world or whatever it is, that they will send out more videos if you have more likes and shares. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, please, and make sure you subscribe. My subscriber rate right now is at 80%. Wonk wonk. That means that 80% of you guys have not subscribed to me that watch me. So please consider subscribing to me. It helps me a ton. And like I said, I'm so excited. Make sure you watch March video for the garden tour, because I have a feeling that's when all these tulips are going to be blooming. And I'm really excited about May as well, because that's when all my roses are going to be blooming out for the first time. And that first flush is the most gorgeous, so you don't want to miss that. So watch the videos that I'm going to put at the end of the video here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, friends.